I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike and I'm 32. I was with my wife Emily for about 3 years. We were planning our wedding and honestly I thought everything was perfect, or at least it was, until I started noticing little things that didn't add up. She'd be secretive about her phone, often hiding it when I got near. She'd get defensive if I asked about who she was texting or calling. Said she was just friends with a coworker, that it was nothing. Typical, right? But I knew her. Emily isn't exactly a saint. She's bitchy, always talking down to people, especially her friends. But still, I trusted her. Until I didn't. A couple of weeks ago, I came home early from work because I wasn't feeling well. I walked in and saw her phone lying on the coffee table. Nothing unusual except the screen was unlocked. I usually don't snoop, but something about the way she kept texting these guys made me suspicious. I glanced at her messages. I saw a reply from Josh that said, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Let's make it unforgettable." My stomach dropped. I knew Josh. He's a buddy of ours, a mutual friend. My mind just went blank and I felt this cold wave of disbelief. How could Emily, my future wife, be cheating on me with one of my friends? I didn't confront her right away. I needed to think. I stared at the screen for a long time, trying to process what I'd just seen. That night, when she finally got home from her shift at the bar, I was sitting on the couch, trying to act normal. She looked at me with that fake smile, that I'm innocent look she always had in her back pocket, but I could see right through it. I told her about the message, and her face twisted into this angry, bitchy expression. She rolled her eyes, scoffing, "Oh, please, that's just Josh being stupid, it's nothing. Just two friends joking around, you're overreacting." Her voice was sharp, dismissive, like she was annoyed I even brought it up. I felt a surge of rage and heartbreak at the same time. How could she lie so easily? How could she make me doubt myself? That moment marked the beginning of my unraveling. I started paying more attention to her words, her actions. She became defensive, snapping at me over tiny things. She'd lie about where she was, say she was working late, but I'd find her out with friends or with Josh, sometimes late at night, sneaking around. Every time I thought I had her cornered, she'd twist it around, blame me for being paranoid or insecure. She turned it into a game, making me question everything. And I was losing myself trying to hold on to the idea that she was still the woman I loved. But deep down, I knew something was broken, something I couldn't fix anymore. The more I tried to confront her, the more she digressed into this bitchy, dismissive attitude. Emily, for all her supposed charm, had a way of just shutting me down, calling me insecure or jealous whenever I brought up the evidence I found. She'd smirk, roll her eyes, and say, "You're just imagining things. Josh and I are just friends. You're making a big deal out of nothing." But I knew better. I had seen the messages, the late-night calls, the way she'd slip out of the house like she was sneaking away to meet someone. One day I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I decided to follow her. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I needed proof. So I waited until she left for work, and I followed her. She drove to this sketchy little motel on the outskirts of town. I watched her go inside, and my stomach clenched hard. I saw her kiss Josh, not just some friendly peck, but a full-on, passionate kiss. They looked like they were in their own world. I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I didn't go in, I just watched from a distance, feeling this strange mix of rage, heartbreak, and betrayal. I knew then that everything I thought I knew about her was a lie. That woman I'd trusted, the woman I was about to marry, she was cheating on me with our mutual friend, Josh, and she had been lying about it for months. All those late nights, all those excuses, all the pretend smiles, they were all fake. She had been lying to my face, and I'd been blind too. The next day I sat her down. I told her I knew everything. Her reaction was the same bitchy smirk, like she was so damn entitled to get away with it. She crossed her arms, looked at me with that "you're nothing" attitude, and said, "Oh, so you're spying now? Great, just what I needed. You're crazy, Mike. You're overreacting again. Josh and I are just friends. You're jealous, that's all." Her words cut through me like a knife. I felt this sudden fire rise up, this need to confront her once and for all. I told her I couldn't do this anymore, that I was done. But she laughed it off, said I was being dramatic, and stormed out of the room. That's when I knew I couldn't trust her. Not anymore. After that confrontation, everything changed. Emily acted like nothing had happened, like she expected me to just forget or forgive. But I couldn't. I kept thinking about the kiss, the lies, the way she brushed me off like I was some kind of inconvenience. I started to realize how much her betrayal had broken whatever little trust I had left. I felt numb, but also furious. How could she do this? With our friend, no less. It was like a punch to my chest every time I remembered the look on her face when she was lying, that sneer, that bitchy smirk. I started planning my next move. I didn't want to just walk away without some kind of revenge. I needed her to see what she'd done, to feel the weight of the betrayal she'd put me through. I knew I had to be smart about it. Emily was the type of woman who always had some excuse ready, some way to make herself look innocent. So I decided to gather more proof just to be sure. I installed a discreet app on her phone, checked her emails, her social media, and sure enough, more evidence appeared. Messages, photos, even plans for a secret weekend with Josh. They had been planning to run away, I guess, or maybe just run from their guilt. One night I caught her texting Josh again. She was so blatant about it, like she didn't think I was capable of catching her. I looked at the screen and saw her tell him she was so horny and that she couldn't wait to see him again. That was the last straw. I had enough. I knew I needed to confront her again, but this time I had the upper hand. I was done playing her game. I was going to put everything on the table, her lies, her cheating, her bitchy attitude, and her manipulative ways. I wanted her to feel what I felt, the betrayal, the anger, the devastation, because she deserved to know that she couldn't get away with this, not anymore. The night I decided to confront her for the final time, I felt a weird mix of adrenaline and dread. I set up my plan carefully. I wanted her to see that I knew everything, that I had her cornered. I waited until she got home from her shift at the bar, knowing she would be tired, maybe even a little drunk. Perfect. I had everything ready, screenshots of messages, her plan with Josh, all the evidence I needed. When she walked in, she was bitchy immediately, snapping at me for no reason. I kept my cool, looked her right in the eyes, and laid everything out there. I played the damning messages on my phone, watched her face twist into that familiar sneer. She blinked, then scoffed. "You're crazy. All of this is bullshit. You're just jealous. Josh and I are just friends. You're paranoid." I didn't let her slip away this time. I told her, "No, Emily, I know what you did. I saw your kiss with Josh. I saw your plans. You lied to my face for months. How do you explain that?" Her eyes widened for a second, then she looked annoyed, like I was bothering her. "You're out of your mind," she snapped. "You're just insecure like always. You're making this up because you're scared of losing me." But I was furious. My trust was shattered and I knew I'd been a fool. I told her I was done, that I never wanted to see her again. Her bitchy attitude only got worse. She accused me of being possessive and crazy, like I was the problem all along. She stormed out and told me I was overreacting, that I was just jealous because she was better than me. That's when I realized I was done. There was no saving this. She didn't even try to deny it anymore. She just spat out her venom, acting like she was the victim. The emotional fallout was brutal. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and so damn angry. I spent the night alone, replaying everything in my head. She had been lying for months, sleeping with our mutual friend, and I never saw it coming. I kept asking myself, how could she be so bitchy, so manipulative, so selfish? I felt like I'd been punched in the gut 1,000 times. It was clear I'd been blind, and now I had to pick up the pieces. I knew I'd have to decide whether I'd try to forgive her or finally walk away for good. But one thing was certain, I'd never look at her the same way again. After that night, everything changed. I felt like I was walking around in a haze, trying to process what had just happened. The woman I thought I knew, the one I was about to marry, was nothing but a liar and a cheat. Her bitchy, manipulative attitude hit a new level, but honestly, I didn't care anymore. The damage had been done. I couldn't keep pretending I was okay with her sneaking around behind my back, especially with someone I considered a friend. I told myself I needed time to think, to figure out what I really wanted. Part of me wanted to burn everything down, confront her friends, tell everyone what she'd done, make her feel just a fraction of the pain she'd caused me. But I knew that wouldn't fix anything. Instead, I decided the best thing I could do was cut her out of my life completely. No more lying, no more pretending. I packed up some of my things, left her a note saying I was done, and walked out that door. The aftermath was a whirlwind. I cut all contact with Emily. I blocked her number, her social media, everything. It hurt. It still hurts even now. The betrayal cut so deep, I questioned whether I even knew her at all. For days, I went through periods of anger, despair, and even numbness. I'd catch myself thinking about the good times, then the next moment, I'd remember her bitchy attitude and the lies. It was like waking up from a nightmare I couldn't fully wake up from. I started leaning on friends and family. Some of them told me I'd dodged a bullet, that she wasn't worth it, that I deserved someone who wouldn't cheat and lie. That helped, but it didn't erase the pain entirely. I kept asking myself if I could ever trust again, if I could ever love someone like I loved her. The truth was, I was broken. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious. But at the same time, I knew I'd survive. I'd learned that people can surprise you, not always in good ways. And I'd learned that the person you think you know might not be who they really are. Now, looking back, I realize that this whole nightmare has changed me. I'm more cautious, more guarded. But I also know I'm stronger than I thought. I didn't let her take everything from me. I'm still here, still standing. I don't regret discovering the truth, no matter how painful it was. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather be alone than with someone who could lie and cheat like that. I guess that's the biggest lesson I've learned. Don't ignore the signs, trust your gut, and never let someone treat you like an afterthought. If they cheat, lie, and manipulate, they don't deserve your forgiveness, they deserve to be exposed. Now I spend my days trying to rebuild what I thought I had lost. It's not easy. The scars are still there, and sometimes I catch myself wondering if I'll ever fully trust again. But I know one thing for sure. I refuse to be that guy who gets played and stays quiet about it. I've learned that standing up for yourself, even when it hurts like hell, is the only way to move forward. Looking back, I realized that Emily was never the person I thought she was. She was bitchy, manipulative, and dishonest from the start, but I was too blind to see it. I want others to know that if you see signs like secretive behavior, lying, or dismissiveness, don't ignore them. Don't let someone cheat and lie in the name of love. Because eventually, the truth comes out, and when it does, it hits like a freight train. I'm not proud of how everything unfolded, but I am proud that I faced it head on. No more pretending, no more denying what's real. I'll be okay even if it takes time. And if someone out there is going through something similar, my advice is simple. Trust your instincts, cut out the bullshit, and never settle for someone who disrespects you. Because you deserve someone who loves you for who you are, not someone who cheats and lies just because they think they can get away with it. That's all I have to say. It's a painful lesson, but a necessary one. And honestly, I'm finally starting to feel free.